This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what do you want to talk to us about today? What comic insights? What do you want? What's going on?
Well, it's like John's like, this was like, a difficult one to talk about because, there was like, lots of stuff that came up, like, stuff that, like I wanted to talk about that, like, initially, like, seemed like, was going to be like a good thing to talk about, but also just, what, presented itself, like for like in the time frame that I wanted to mention, because like initially it's like, I had no idea what I wanted to talk about, really, honestly. So I thought that, hey, maybe I want to talk about like, my thoughts on One Punch Man, like, and like, how it's going. But then I realized that, hey, maybe that would be better set up for the next volume, which basically like brings a closure to like the current arc, and I can all talk about it then. It's like, and then after that, hey, wait a second. I'm wanting to follow up on Philip Kennedy Johnson's like like Incredible Hulk run, and I said, hey, maybe I start reading that. It's like, and I did, and I have got thoughts on that. But then like, oh well, it's like that run isn't done, like, and it's going to be, and even if like 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 Hulk is present in like the current Spider-Man movie, yeah, it's not really a way that result relates to like what's going on with like with the Hulk right there. Like, and then I thought, well, wait a second, it was like I haven't caught up on like like the Amazing Spider-Man run since my thoughts on like like Zeb Wells take on the character, and then following like what like current writer Joe Kelly has done. Now, here's the thing, because like call me crazy, but I think that hey, wait a second, talking about Spider-Man in the present day, maybe there's like some kind of like synergistic resonance about what's going on there. It's like, hey, maybe it's like it would be worth talking about that, you know, in like in relation to like what's going on with Spider-Man, like right now, because well, Brand New Day is dominating like the discourse in terms of like box office and just cultural relevance, because I I cashed in my like my birthday time off to go see it the day it came out, and yeah, I really loved it. It's like I thought it was like like a really like great story about just like Peter Parker, like valid like prioritizing being Spider-Man, like over like his own his own personal needs, and and delivering like the like, and eventually realizing that hey, you can't do that, but also just doing that in a fun way that that didn't like distract you from enjoying the movie. Like, I really loved it. It's like, and I really don't begrudge the series, like the movie, for its phenomenal box office success. But then I also realized that hey, well, like if I don't have an idea about what I want to do for my podcast right now, and well, like, because the stuff that I wanted to talk about, didn't arrive in time. You know, thanks, ChiefGraphic.com. Like, you guys do really good work more often than not, but you kind of like drop the ball here. But well, so I decided to catch up on the current Amazing Spider-Man run from writer like Joe Kelly. Now, Kelly is like someone who's no stranger to these podcasts, because I've talked about his run on Deadpool, his definitive run on Deadpool, and also his own creator-owned like works on it's like on I Killed Giants and Immortal Sergeant. While I think that Kelly is a solid writer, he's not the kind of guy that I think that like, oh, like whenever he does something that I'm going to like like dive into whatever he does and all. So that's why it took me a bit to catch up on what he and co-writer Justina Ireland were doing on the Eight Deaths of Spider-Man. Now, after Zeb Wells checked out of his run of Spider-Man, well, Kelly and Ireland stepped up to deliver a 10-part storyline that basically had that Spider-Man helping Doctor Doom um like deliver on his new status as Sorcerer Supreme in the wake of like the Vampire Century Blood Hunt storyline where Doctor Doom assumed the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme. Well, it turns out that in order to maintain the status quo of threats against the Marvel universe, um Doctor Strange had like had delivered had agreed to fight against the science of Satorak. Basically, and if you're thinking who's Satorak? Well, Satorak is the evil god that that powers the Juggernaut. Well, and it turns out that in order to maintain the they get put in the status quo in the universe. Well, it's it's like he agreed to fight against these Cylons in order to maintain eternal peace and all, especially against this vaguely defined threat that is known as the Blight. Well, when Doctor Doom found out that he is now due to fight against this, well, he just thought who can I get that is really self-sacrificing and is going to put their own well-being against this kind of thing. Hey, it's Spider-Man. There you go. So that's what we get, for the storyline, the Eight Deaths of Spider-Man. And okay, this storyline is fine. It's not bad, mainly because the first half is basically just dealt with Kelly and Ireland, finding clever ways for Spider-Man to outwit the science of Cytorak. The problem is that when one of them serves up the idea of hey, it's your idea in order to defeat this particular challenge, Spider-Man now has to has to agree to uh let's see accept this let's say this evil orb where he just has to like deliver his let's see how do I put this, Spider-Man has to accept the idea that his his defense of of the natural universe is futile in the sense that hey, everything you do it's it's going to end in everyone dying. And basically the idea that hey, Spider-Man, the while there are some clever ideas about in the first half of the storyline about Spider-Man finding clever ways to defeat the Silence of Satorak. Well, the back half basically comes with him basically realizing that hey, everything is futile. It's oh my god, it's I got to give up and all, and that's disappointing. Mainly because you realize that hey, Spider-Man is eventually going to realize that hey, it's not futile, and I'm and he's going to fight against this. It's a really a disappointing like like a disappointing obvious conclusion to the storyline that I was kind of frustrated by. I mean, yeah, it's you throw in the actual appearance of the Juggernaut and also the X-Men, also the Signs of Satoric, you know, the bad ones, trying to manipulate things for their own gain. And okay, yes, it's fine in the end, but but overall, it's like, it's not bad, but it's not, it doesn't really, like, deliver on the kind of clever cleverness and humor that I like to see in Spider-Man. Because a good, Spider-Man story, basically does, like instill like a certain amount of drama while also, you know, delivering like a certain amount of humor, like as well. Zeb Wells' run managed this for like for a little bit, but then it's like there was like a lot of like drama like that eventually overwhelmed it, like in the end. Kelly's run, because here's the thing, like after the 80th Spider-Man, like well then we get a proper relaunch where now Kelly is the primary writer of Spider-Man through the first 22 issues, and that's what I'm talking about right here because well it's like I'm not going to talk about the Death Spiral stuff, even if it is in the even is in like Marvel Unlimited because that is also a separate Spider-Man and Venom storyline. And well, I could talk about like this Spider-Man storyline and then the Spider-Man and Venom storyline, but well, we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll talk about Death Spiral at some point when it's in print. When it's not, when it's like currently like on Marvel Unlimited, which it is, but we'll see how it goes. But here's the thing. Um, Kelly's um Kelly's run on Spider-Man, well, I gotta give it props because he's at least trying like like different stuff here. Because like the first arc, basically has him has Peter being recruited by his buddy Brian. It's like who is like who remembers from like middle school, and just like like in the good old days of like when he was just like like a like a near do role like bucking against the like the authority like like established by his like Aunt May and Uncle Ben. And I like the idea that like Kelly is like not unafraid, just like dive into just, like what Peter's relationship with his Uncle Bay and Aunt Ben were back in the day. That's nice. I like that he's not that he's like trying to do like different stuff here, and that's also true. Like I mean, and the first arc, which is illustrated by Pepe Larraz, who's a fantastic superhero artist. You know, also just like delivers some like really stylish work here, and also while also delivering like a villainous turn from like Itsy Bitsy, which you think who is Itsy Bitsy? Well, if you didn't read like the Spider-Man Deadpool series that Kelly did with like artist Ed McGuinness back like a few years back. Well, she is basically a junkie who basically agreed to be injected with the DNA of Spider-Man and Deadpool, and basically just tried to basically just like infected like Spider-Man with like all these like crazy hallucinogens like in the like for the purpose of that story and for the purposes of like this initial arc as well, which also ties into like Hobgoblin Roderick Kingsley's like plans to just make millions by by delivering like a crazy like like psychotropic like disease, and also like also delivering its cure as well. Like the like the first five issues of this are really solid. Like in terms of like delivering like like Spider-Man just like being like high out of his mind on drugs, and just trying to get his head back into the game. And then you get the next arc, which basically has Spider-Man like fighting against this like indomitable like foe known as Hellgate, who apparently turns out to be someone who like who realizes that who has been told that, like Spider-Man is going to, like, make him stronger. And, well, it's like, like that doesn't really, like, work out as well as he thinks it is. So, okay. So when he eventually, like, defeats Spider-Man by just basically punching him like into the far reaches of the universe, well, here's where things get interesting because I I mean, it's like I appreciate the fact that that Kelly is trying to do you know like weird new stuff with with Spider-Man, and that basically leads to like an arc where okay, well, I guess I probably should have like told everyone this beforehand, but there's going to be spoilers here. But basically, um, after Spider-Man is like um punched out and defeated by this new villain Hellgate. Well, turns out that in the in the Marvel universe, well, his identity is assumed by two different characters. One is Ben Riley, who we last saw as Chasm in it's like in Zeb Wells run. And so with with Peter completely out of the picture, well, now he's got the chance to finally assume Peter's identity. So, hey, that's great for him. But wait, if Ben Riley is assuming Peter's identity, well, who's being Spider-Man? Well, that would be none other than Norman Osborn. Yes, that's right. Spider-Man's long-term foe, like, is now is now being Spider-Man, and is trying to make himself into a better person by being Spider-Man. Now, I throughout like Zeb Wells run, I was like cons- constantly worried by the fact that hey, it's going to like reverse the fact that Norman like was now being a good guy, someone who's supporting Peter's run, and that turned out, and in the end, he basically like erred on the side of like Norman being a good guy, and that's something that Kelly like, is also like trying to like perpetuate as well. I mean, it's like I think I mean, and also with like its own consequences because like, while Norman has his like old goblin strength, like supporting his his status as a Spider-Man, well, it's like all these other Spider people like Miles Morales, and Spider Gwen, like just being suspicious of what he's doing. It's like, well, Norman, like he's trying to do better, even if, like he's his personality just, isn't like fully like like allowing for that. I think that's like a it's like a good it's good like setup like for the character arc, and I like the fact that like the Kelly is trying to continue like Norman Osborn's like, ongoing redemption. Like yeah, that's that's good and all. Like and the that's what like the what he's trying to do for these for the storyline where like Peter is off world because Peter is off world and he's because when like Helge punched him out like he basically sent him like careening across the galaxy into like a bootleg Guardians of the Galaxy type thing with an actual member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, like with Rocket Raccoon, like and also just like all these like other like weirder as well like Raylith the like the Wretched like and like Glitch the Technarch and Dr. Zento Starblood, who basically promises like, hey, I will help you be as strong as you are, be stronger to fight like Hellgate. Only it's like hey, maybe you don't need that and all. So it's interesting. It's like basically you've got like two separate storylines, like focusing on like Peter trying to still like regular human morality like in the wildest space, and also Norman Osborn like trying to match like the Peter's Peter's own like standard of morality. It's like on Earth. It's like it's interesting, and I eventually once things do um I converge in issue 22. Well, it's it's solid enough, but I think that here's the thing. See, what I like with Spider-Man stories is that you've got the fun stuff. Like Peter just being glib and just dunking on his foes and all. Like at that doesn't feel like it's that also doesn't feel like it's like devaluing the drama of this of the storylines that are going on. Um, Kelly's work here kind of feels like he's going harder into the drama like that doesn't make this work. It's like so it's not bad, but I don't feel like like the same kind of good vibes that I got from the early stages of Zebwell's um run. And also, but that being said, I do think that the series it does have good good art, from the start, from Pepe Larraz in the first 5 issues, and then John Romita Jr., which in the subsequent issues, even though it's like, well, I mean, I like Romita Jr.'s work, even though it's like seeing that he's got some issues where he's got he's got to have assistance from likes of Todd Nauck and no disrespect to Noak and all, but Romita Jr. is the kind of guy who's who's really fast, really professional. And when I see that someone else is helping him deliver an issue, it's like wow, like that is like it's like kind of disappointing in the sense that like a guy who used to be able to deliver two series monthly is now having to like like have someone else helping out deliver a monthly series. But I think that the art on the series is still really solid from whoever's delivering it. Whether it's Romita Jr., whether it's Laraz, or when you've got like proper fill-in guys like Michael Dowling or Nick Bradshaw. So overall, it's like, but overall, it's like I think that this current run of Amazing Spider-Man is enjoyable. I will keep reading it, but I will probably not talk about the next arc of Amazing Spider-Man until the like uh like the let's see the Death Spiral sent storyline comes is collected, because that is a storyline basically national involves Amazing Spider-Man and Venom, which is a series that I am currently reading in in print. And also I think that trying to talk about the the Death Spiral storyline. It's like, well, that would be just too long to talk about in one podcast. But in terms of hey, is Amazing Spider-Man worth reading right now? Yeah, it's like I think it is, but also I've got a subscription to Marvel Unlimited because and that's I think that reading this reading it in this format is definitely worth the subscription price to the to to the format itself. So overall, I'll keep reading it, but I'll probably just like wait until like the next until like the next story on is collected in print before I talk about things like as well. So there you go. Amazing Spider-Man by Joe Kelly, not bad, but if you're not already like invested in like Marvel Unlimited, um, I don't know. It's like maybe like a compelling reason to read it, but overall, it's like I enjoyed it. Like for the maybe it was worth reading for my for the price of my subscription for Marvel Unlimited. So there you go.
All right. You know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Okay, maybe it'll be like the series I wanted to talk about this time, Alabama, or maybe it'll be Undiscovered Country, which is about the fate of America and all in this present day.
Sweet. I'm going to catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Click.
Later, everyone.